tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time, June 3rd, 2026, there is a foreclosure auction scheduled on Dorit Kemsley's $6.5 million Encino mansion, the same house she has lived in for 7 years. The same house her children Jagger and Phoenix are sleeping in tonight. And as of the moment this script was written, Dorit Kemsley has not signed any new court papers. She has not moved out. She has not fixed the suspended LLC that legally owns the property. She has not sold a single designer bag on Poshmark, despite being told by the attorney publicly tracking this case that she has a phalanx of purses, clothes, and jewelry she could liquidate right now. She is doing a book tour. On the very same day as the foreclosure auction, June 3rd, Dorit Kemsley will be at a bookstore in Ridgewood, New Jersey, promoting her memoir, Unburdened. She launched that tour May 31st in Los Angeles. She will be in Brooklyn on June 2nd, she will be in New Jersey on June 3rd, and 3,000 miles away, her house may or may not go to auction. This is where we are. Let's get into all of it. Before we get to the foreclosure update, Dorit gave a rare and genuinely candid interview this week about one of the other major failures in her recent professional life, Beverly Beach by Dorit, the swimwear and resort wear brand she launched in 2018, and that has since gone almost completely silent. The origin story is more complicated than most people know. According to Reality Blurb reporting, Beverly Beach was not entirely Dorit's own idea from scratch. She had originally planned a fashion venture called Nava, but PK stepped in, took over aspects of the project, renamed it Beverly Beach, and rebranded it around Dorit's image and the Beverly Hills lifestyle aesthetic. Their close friend and PK's longtime client, Boy George, invested in the brand. Dorit poured her energy into it, designing pieces priced accessibly under $100, naming styles after her RHOBH co-stars, leveraging the Bravo platform to market it, and building a collection that genuinely got attention in season 9 when she unveiled it at the kitchen window on Melrose. So what happened? In her May 21st interview with Extra TV, Dorit gave her account, "I launched Beverly Beach by Dorit, and then COVID happened and I had all of my factories in Los Angeles, and everything was shut for an extended period of time. When that happens, the fashion year you sort of follow a cycle, and so everything had to be pushed. And when it came time for me to launch a new collection, it felt like I needed to pause, regroup, and then decide whether I want to continue with swimwear or resort wear or change it entirely. For a small brand without the infrastructure of a major retailer, that math can destroy you fast." But then came the home invasion. On the night of October 27th, 2021, a Wednesday, Dorit Kemsley was home with her 2 children, Jagger and Phoenix, at the Encino mansion. PK was traveling. 3 armed men broke into the property. They held Dorit at gunpoint. They told her they would kill her. They zip-tied her. They ransacked the house, taking approximately $1 million in jewelry, handbags, and valuables, including items from the very Chanel, Hermes, and Louis Vuitton collections that would later appear in PK's court filings as examples of her spending. The Lapt confirmed the burglary occurred at 10:50 p.m. The children were in the house throughout. Dorit broke her silence days later, calling it a terrifying ordeal and saying she was grateful that she and her children had not been physically harmed. Garcelle Beauvais said Dorit was grateful and that the whole cast was relieved nobody was hurt. But the psychological damage was not visible. It played out over the following seasons of RHOBH, in her increasing fragility, her difficulty being alone in the house at night, and ultimately in her statement to Extra TV this week. And then the home invasion happened, and I really needed to take a step back. She described writing about it for Unburdened as one of the most difficult parts of the process. I went to film the next day, so that was already challenging, not necessarily filming, because I was white-knuckling it through the season. But then 6 months later, when you're watching it and reliving it, it's like a tidal wave. So obviously, going into great detail in the book, I knew it was going to be difficult. It was one of the last chapters I actually wrote, because I almost felt like I needed to wait. But I knew I needed to have the strength and the capacity to do it. She described finishing that chapter as cathartic. It really did feel good when I finished the chapter to get it all out and put it on paper, and in a detail that connects the home invasion to the current financial crisis in a way that almost nobody has pointed out. The items stolen that night, the Chanel, the Hermes, the jewelry were replaced, the closet was restocked, and several years later, those replacement purchases became the foundation of PK's court filings, accusing her of a $1 million spending problem. She lost it once to armed robbers. Then she replaced it, and now the replacement is being used against her in divorce proceedings. One of the more personal admissions Dorit made in the Extra TV interview was about her friendship with Boy George, the culture icon, Culture Club frontman, and longtime PK client who has been a fixture in the Kemsley world for years. Boy George appeared on RHOBH multiple times. He attended their events. He invested in Beverly Beach. He felt, to viewers and to Dorit herself, like an extended member of the family. When Dorit and PK separated, she apparently hoped Boy George would be different from their other mutual friends. She said, "I actually thought, naively perhaps, that George would be one of those that would be able to have a relationship with both of us. And I was wrong. And that's okay." She confirmed, he's firmly in PK's camp. She added a caveat that is worth noting: when PK and I are good, or we are okay, suddenly George is okay. So I think it will very much depend on the relationship I have with PK, and that will dictate my relationship with George. That is a diplomatic framing. But Boy George himself has been less diplomatic about the situation on social media, posting publicly that he is disappointed with the narrative Dorit has been pushing, and hinting that if he gave his own interview, you guys would be astonished by what has transpired. He is clearly not neutral. He has chosen, and he has chosen PK. This is a real loss for Dorit, not just professionally, but personally. Boy George was a rare, genuine friendship in the artificially curated world of RHOBH. His departure from her corner is the kind of quiet devastation that doesn't make the same tabloid headlines as the foreclosure, but probably hurts in a more sustained way. Now let's get to the most important, most recent, and most alarming piece of information in this entire story, because attorney Ronald Richards posted a major update on June 1st, the day before the foreclosure auction, and it is not good for Dorit. Here is what Richards posted, verbatim. Dorit Kemsley, since Paul got her a temporary reprieve from the foreclosure now set for June 3rd, 2026 at 10:30 a.m., has not signed any new court papers, has not moved out, and has not fixed her suspended LLC that owns the house. Let that land. PK stepped in and made last-minute payments in May to push the auction date back from May 20th to June 3rd. That bought Dorit 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, according to Richards, she has done nothing. No court filings, no LLC reinstatement, no moving out, no financial cooperation. Richards went further. Dorit has no funds left to reinstate the first and is entirely dependent on Paul to fix this. And then the most pointed line of the entire post: Dorit can easily sell her own goods on Poshmark, which consists of a phalanx of purses, clothes, and jewelry, but won't do it. She believes that Paul needs to pay for all of this, and she is never going to move near a main road. That last phrase, never going to move near a main road, is apparently a reference to her resistance to any potential interim housing that doesn't meet her standards. The implication: she has been offered or presented with options for where to go while the house is sold, and she has found those options unacceptable. Richards also offered what he believes PK is doing behind the scenes. We believe Paul is using his superior business acumen to get a deal with the first so it can be reinstated. The second will then back off, as they will not be concerned with being wiped out. In other words, PK is allegedly working to negotiate a deal with the primary lender to reinstate the mortgage, after which the second mortgage holder, who was threatening to force a sale, would stand down, because the primary lender being current reduces their risk. If that deal goes through, the auction could be avoided again. But as of June 1st, nothing has been signed.